Your bank account is listening to the wrong frequency. Right now, money is flowing somewhere, just not to you. What if one Mexican beach town cracked the abundance code? Huatulco locals live on island time but retire early. How? They hum a different tune. Literally, 3 frequencies separate the broke from the abundant. You've been taught to hustle. They've been taught to resonate. What if wealth isn't earned? It's tuned into. The gap is your current station versus the prosperity channel. In the next few hours, you'll learn to retune. By the end, your nervous system will hum money's melody. Most people think poverty is a math problem. They believe if they just work harder, save smarter, or invest better, the numbers will change. But here's what nobody tells you. Your financial reality isn't responding to your effort. It's responding to your frequency. And right now, you're broadcasting on a channel that repels abundance like a radio jammed with static. The money you want exists. It's flowing right past you, but you can't receive what you're not tuned into. I discovered this truth in the most unexpected place. Huatulco, Mexico. A string of 9 bays on the Oaxacan coast where something unusual happens. People with modest jobs retire comfortably. Families without corporate careers build generational wealth. Fishermen's children attend international universities. And nobody seems stressed about money. At first I thought it was just lower cost of living, but the numbers didn't add up. These weren't people living on less. They were people receiving more. Much more. And when I dug deeper, I found something that changed everything I understood about prosperity. The residents of Huatulco don't just live near the ocean. They live inside a specific energetic frequency. The combination of geographic location, consistent weather patterns, negative ion saturation from sea spray, and a cultural mindset passed down through generations creates what physicists would call a coherent field. And that field broadcasts at the exact frequency of abundance. The people don't try to attract wealth. They simply exist inside a vibration that makes wealth inevitable. Their nervous systems are calibrated to prosperity the way a compass is calibrated to north. It's automatic, effortless, natural. Now here's the part that matters to you. You don't have to move to Huatulco to access this frequency. You don't need the ocean, the weather, or the geography. Because the real secret isn't the location, it's the vibration. And once you understand how to tune your own internal receiver to match that signal, money starts flowing to you regardless of where you live. This isn't metaphysical fantasy. This is applied frequency science. And it works whether you believe it or not. Your nervous system is a broadcasting station. Right now, it's sending out signals every second of every day. These signals aren't random. They're based on your habitual thought patterns, your emotional baseline, your physical tension, and your subconscious programming. Together, these create your dominant frequency, and your dominant frequency determines what you attract. If you're broadcasting fear, you attract situations that justify fear. If you're broadcasting lack, you attract experiences of scarcity. But if you're broadcasting abundance, wealth finds you in ways that seem almost magical. Opportunities appear. Money shows up. Doors open. Not because you're lucky, because you're finally on the right channel. Most people have been tuned to the wrong station their entire lives. They inherited it from parents who inherited it from their parents. They reinforced it through decades of scarcity thinking, financial stress, and survival mode. And now it runs automatically, like a song stuck on repeat. They wake up anxious about bills. They work from a place of fear. They make decisions based on not enough instead of more than enough. And their bank account reflects that frequency perfectly. The universe isn't punishing them. It's just matching their signal. The good news is this: frequency can be changed. Your nervous system can be retuned. And once you know how, the shift happens faster than you'd believe possible. I've watched people go from chronic financial stress to unexpected abundance in less than 90 days. Not because they got a new job or won the lottery, because they learned to broadcast on a different channel. They stopped jamming their own signal with interference patterns. They installed new mental loops. They recalibrated their receiver. And money started flowing the way it was always meant to. So here's what we're going to do together. I'm going to walk you through the exact frequency shift that happens naturally in Huatulco. You will learn to diagnose your current wealth station. You will identify the interference patterns blocking your signal. You'll install the specific mental tracks that create the prosperity vibration. You'll build your personal 24-hour abundance loop, and you'll set up maintenance systems that keep you locked on the right frequency permanently. This isn't theory. This is a step-by-step protocol, and if you follow it, your financial reality will change. Not might change, will change, because that's how frequency works. Before we go deeper, you need to understand something fundamental about how money actually operates. Money isn't a thing. It's energy in motion. It flows where it's welcome and avoids where it's resisted. Think of it like water. Water doesn't judge which container deserves to be filled. It just flows to wherever there's an opening and stays wherever there's space. Money works the same way. It's constantly moving, constantly flowing, constantly seeking receptive vessels. The question isn't whether money is available. The question is whether you're available to receive it. Right now, you might be walking around with your receiver jammed. You're saying you want money, but your frequency is broadcasting rejection. Your words say yes, but your nervous system says no. Your conscious mind plans for abundance, but your subconscious runs programs of unworthiness. And money, responding to your actual frequency, not your wishful thinking, flows right past you to someone whose signal is clear. This isn't personal. It's physics. Money goes where the frequency matches. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Sarah worked in tech sales in San Francisco. Good income, high cost of living, always stressed about money despite making six figures. She'd close a deal and immediately worry about the next one. She'd get a bonus and instantly calculate how fast it would disappear. Her apartment was expensive, her lifestyle was expensive, and no matter how much came in, it never felt like enough. She was running on what I call the scarcity treadmill. More money, same anxiety, because her frequency hadn't changed. One morning, she's sitting in a coffee shop before a big client meeting. She's rehearsing her pitch, and her chest is tight with that familiar pre-presentation dread. What if they say no? What if I can't close this? What if this month is the month everything falls apart? And then she overhears the table next to her. Two women, clearly not wealthy based on their conversation about splitting a muffin to save money. But they're laughing. One of them just said something about how her sister sent her $50 out of nowhere yesterday, exactly when she needed it. The other one says that always happens to her too. Money just shows up. Last week, someone overpaid her for a craft project by mistake and told her to keep it. They're talking about these little financial miracles like they're totally normal, like money just finds them. And Sarah realizes something that stops her cold. These women have less money than her, but they're broadcasting a completely different frequency. They expect to be taken care of. They trust that what they need will come. They're not gripping. They're not panicking. They're open, receptive, light. Sarah sits there staring at her laptop, and for the first time, she feels the death grip she's had on money her entire adult life. The clenching, the controlling, the constant fear of loss. And she understands in that coffee shop moment that she's been jamming her own signal for years. She goes into her client meeting with a completely different energy. Not desperate to close, just curious, open, present. She doesn't get that particular deal, but 3 days later, a former client calls her out of the blue with a referral that turns into her biggest commission of the year. She didn't do anything different externally. She just stopped broadcasting panic, and money, finally able to reach her, flowed in. That's a frequency shift, and it doesn't require years of therapy. or decades of meditation. It requires understanding how your nervous system works and learning to recalibrate it deliberately. Most people live their entire lives at the mercy of whatever frequency they inherited. They never realize they have a dial. They never learn they can change the channel. But you're about to learn exactly how. Your current wealth station is probably one of 3 frequencies. The first is what I call scarcity FM. This is the frequency of not enough. People on this station wake up worried about money. They check their bank balance with dread. They say things like, "I can't afford that. Money doesn't grow on trees. I'm so broke. Rich people are greedy, and I'll never get ahead." Their body language is contracted. Their breathing is shallow. Their nervous system is locked in survival mode. Every financial decision comes from fear. And because they're constantly broadcasting lack, they create more situations that prove lack is real. It's a self-fulfilling loop. The second frequency is survival AM. This is the frequency of just enough. People on this station aren't destitute, but they're not free either. They make ends meet, they pay their bills, they have some savings but not much cushion. They're always one emergency away from stress. They work hard but never seem to get ahead. They say things like, "Money comes and goes. I'm doing okay. I can't complain. And at least I'm not homeless." They're grateful for what they have, which is good, but they're also resigned to limitation, which keeps them stuck. Their frequency says this is as good as it gets. And so it is. The third frequency is abundance FM. This is where Huatulco residents live. This is the frequency of more than enough. People on this station expect good things to happen. They trust that they're taken care of. They say things like, "Money flows to me easily, I'm so lucky, opportunities keep finding me, and I always have what I need." Their body language is open. Their breathing is deep. Their nervous system is in rest and digest mode. They make decisions from possibility, not fear. And because they're broadcasting abundance, they magnetize situations, people, and resources that create more abundance. It's not positive thinking. It's frequency alignment. So which station are you tuned to right now? Be honest. Not which one you wish you were on. Which one actually describes your daily inner experience with money? Because here's the thing. You can't change what you won't acknowledge. And most people lie to themselves about their frequency. They say they were abundant while their stomach clenches every time they look at their bank account. They affirm prosperity while their subconscious runs terror about the future. Your frequency isn't what you claim. It's what you feel. It's what your body does when money comes up. It's the automatic thought that runs before you can censor it. Take a moment right now and notice. What happens in your body when you think about your bank account? Does your chest tighten? Does your breathing change? Do you feel heavy or light? Anxious or peaceful? That's your current frequency. That's the station you're broadcasting from. And until you change that, nothing external will create lasting financial change. You can get a raise and still feel broke. You can win money and lose it immediately. Because your frequency is the root cause. Everything else is just a symptom. Here's why this matters so much. Your nervous system doesn't distinguish between reality and perception. It responds to the story you're telling yourself about money, not the actual facts. You could have $10,000 in the bank and feel desperate. You could have $100 and feel abundant. The nervous system doesn't count money. It reads your interpretation of your safety. And based on that interpretation, it sends signals throughout your entire body that either open you to receiving or close you down into protection mode. When you're in protection mode, your body prioritizes survival over growth. It shuts down creativity, intuition, and risk-taking. It narrows your perception so you only see threats. It makes you play small, stay safe, and avoid anything uncertain. This is terrible for wealth building, because wealth requires expansion. It requires seeing possibilities. It requires taking inspired action. But your nervous system, trying to keep you alive, won't let you do any of that when it thinks you're in danger. And if your story about money is, "I don't have enough, I might lose everything," or "I'm not safe," your nervous system interprets that as danger. It locks you down, and prosperity, which requires openness and flow, becomes impossible. This is the biology of broke. It's not about your work ethic. It's not about your intelligence. It's about your nervous system's baseline state. And for most people, that baseline was set decades ago by experiences they don't even remember consciously. Maybe you grew up watching your parents fight about money. Maybe you experienced a sudden loss that made you feel unsafe. Maybe you absorbed messaging from culture, religion, or community that said money is bad, wanting wealth is selfish, or you have to suffer to earn anything. Whatever the source, your nervous system built a map of how money works. And that map is running your life right now. Unconsciously, automatically, powerfully. The Huatulco frequency is different. It's a nervous system state where money feels safe, natural, and abundant. It's a baseline of trust instead of fear, openness instead of contraction, ease instead of effort. And here's what's fascinating. When researchers studied people in high-trust, high-abundance communities like Huatulco, they found something remarkable. Their vagal tone is different. The vagus nerve, which runs from your brainstem through your entire body, is responsible for your sense of safety and social connection. High vagal tone means you feel safe, you trust others, you're open to receiving, and you recover quickly from stress. Low vagal tone means you're constantly on guard. You trust no one, you're closed to receiving, and you stay stuck in anxiety. Guess which one creates wealth? High vagal tone. People magnetize money because their entire system is broadcasting, "I'm safe, I'm open, and I'm ready to receive." Low vagal tone people repel money because their system is screaming danger. Close down, protect yourself. So how do you shift this? How do you move from low vagal tone scarcity mode to high vagal tone abundance mode? This is where the tuning fork technique comes in. And this is the single most powerful practice you'll learn from Huatulco's Wealth Vibration Secrets. It's a 3-minute daily practice that recalibrates your nervous system at the biological level. It works with sound, breath, and intentional focus to physically shift your receiver into wealth receiving mode. And when done consistently, it rewrites your baseline frequency permanently. Here's how it works. You're going to use your body as a tuning fork. A tuning fork, when struck, produces a pure tone at a specific frequency. And if you place that tuning fork near another object that can resonate, the object begins to vibrate at the same frequency. This is called sympathetic resonance. Your body can do the same thing. When you produce a specific tone, combined with a specific breath pattern, combined with a specific mental focus, your entire nervous system begins to resonate at the frequency of abundance. It's not metaphor. It's measurable. Your heart rate variability changes. Your brainwave patterns shift. Your biochemistry adjusts. And your energetic field begins broadcasting at the prosperity frequency. Every morning, before you do anything else, you're going to sit comfortably and take 3 deep breaths. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 6 counts. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system and tells your body it's safe. Then you're going to place 1 hand on your heart and 1 hand on your belly. Feel your heartbeat. Feel your breath. This is grounding. This brings you into your body instead of your racing mind. Then you're going to hum. Not sing, hum. A low, steady hum that you can feel vibrating in your chest. The vibration should feel like a gentle massage from the inside. Hum for 30 seconds. Feel the resonance. This is activating your vagus nerve directly. The vibration stimulates the vagal pathways and signals safety to your entire system. After 30 seconds of humming, you're going to switch to a specific phrase. You'll repeat this phrase silently while maintaining slow, deep breathing. The phrase is this: money flows to me because I am open to receive. You're not trying to convince yourself. You're not forcing belief. You're simply installing a new frequency pattern. Say it 10 times slowly. Feel each word. Notice where resistance shows up in your body. That resistance is the old frequency trying to stay in control. Don't fight it. Just acknowledge it and continue. The new pattern will eventually override the old one, but only if you practice consistently. After the phrase repetition, you're going to do one final step. You're going to recall a moment when you felt completely safe, abundant, and taken care of. Maybe a moment from childhood when you had no worries. Maybe a moment in nature when everything felt perfect. Maybe a moment when money showed up unexpectedly and you felt blessed. Find that memory. Drop into the feeling of it. Let your body remember what abundance feels like. Stay in that feeling for 60 seconds. This is encoding the frequency at the cellular level. Your nervous system can't tell the difference between a memory and current reality. So when you activate an abundance memory, your system responds as if abundance is happening right now. And that broadcasts the prosperity frequency. That's it. 3 minutes. Breathing, humming, phrase repetition, and memory activation. Done every single morning before your mind gets hijacked by email, news, or other people's energy. This practice is non-negotiable if you want to retune your receiver, because here's what happens. The first few days, you'll feel resistance. Your old frequency doesn't want to be replaced. It's been running your life for decades, and it has momentum. You might feel silly humming. You might not believe the phrase. You might struggle to find an abundance memory. That's normal. Keep going. By day 7, something shifts. The practice starts to feel natural. By day 14, you'll notice your baseline anxiety about money has decreased. By day 30, you'll catch yourself responding to financial situations with calm instead of panic. And by day 90, your entire frequency will have shifted. You won't even recognize your old scarcity patterns because they'll feel foreign. That's recalibration. Now, let's talk about the mental tracks that keep you tuned to prosperity all day long. Because the morning practice sets your frequency, but you need tracks that maintain it. Huatulco locals don't think about abundance consciously every moment, but they run specific thought-feeling combinations on loop that keep them aligned. These are what I call the 9 wealth songs. They're not affirmations you say once and forget. They're mental melodies that play automatically in the background of your awareness. And once installed, they keep you on the prosperity channel effortlessly. The first wealth song is this: something good is about to happen. Huatulco residents walk around with a gentle expectation that life is working in their favor. They don't know what's coming, but they trust it's good. This isn't naive optimism. It's a frequency of openness. When you run this song, your nervous system stays receptive. You notice opportunities because you're looking for them. You say yes to possibilities because you expect them to work out. And that expectancy creates a magnetic pull. Good things find people who expect good things. Not because the universe is playing favorites, because expectancy creates the right frequency. The second wealth song is I Always Have What I Need. This one is subtle, but powerful. It's not I always have what I want. It's what I need, and needs are always met when you're on the abundance frequency. Notice how this song feels different from I hope I'll have enough, or I'm scared I'll run out. It's a present tense statement of fact, and when you run it consistently, your subconscious starts looking for evidence that it's true. You remember the time money showed up unexpectedly. You notice how bills always get paid even when it seems impossible. You recognize the pattern of provision that's been there all along, and the more you notice it, the stronger the frequency becomes. The third wealth song is Money Loves Me. This one makes some people uncomfortable because they've been taught that wanting money is greedy or shallow. But money is just energy, and energy flows toward people who welcome it. When you run the song, "Money Loves Me," you're not being egotistical. You're creating a frequency of reception. You're telling your nervous system that money is safe, friendly, and drawn to you, and your system, receiving that message, stops sabotaging your financial success. It stops the unconscious patterns of losing money, overspending, or blocking opportunities. Because if money loves you, there's no reason to push it away. The fourth wealth song is "I'm in the right place at the right time." This song eliminates the frequency of frantic searching. So many people vibrate at the frequency of "I'm missing out," or "I'm behind," or "everyone else is getting ahead and I'm stuck." That frequency creates panic, poor decisions, and closed doors. But when you run "I'm in the right place at the right time," you relax into the flow. You trust your timing. You make decisions from groundedness instead of desperation. And ironically, that relaxation speeds everything up. You stop chasing and start attracting the right people, the right opportunities, and the right resources come to you because your frequency says "I'm ready and I'm here." The fifth wealth song is "This Gets to Be Easy." Most people are addicted to the struggle. They believe if it's not hard, it's not valuable. They wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. They think suffering proves worthiness, and that frequency makes everything harder than it needs to be. They're broadcasting struggle, so they create struggle. But Huatulco locals know something different. Ease is natural when you're aligned. Flow is what happens when you stop forcing. So they run the song "This Gets to Be Easy," and opportunities open up that require less effort and create more result. They're not lazy. They're efficient. They've stopped confusing activity with productivity, and their bank accounts reflect the difference. The sixth wealth song is "I Receive with Joy." This is crucial. Many people are terrible receivers. Someone offers help and they say no. "I'm fine." Someone gives them a compliment and they deflect. Someone tries to pay for dinner and they insist on splitting it. They've been taught that receiving makes them weak, needy, or indebted. So they push away the very thing they claim to want. And that frequency of rejection shows up with money too. They receive a payment and immediately feel guilty. They get a gift and feel obligated. They can't just accept without making it mean something negative about themselves. But abundance requires receiving. You can't fill a cup that's turned upside down. So this song trains you to receive with joy. No guilt, no weirdness, just open-handed gratitude. And when you can receive small things with joy, big things start flowing too. The seventh wealth song is "There's More Where That Came From." This is the antidote to scarcity thinking. Scarcity says this is the last one, better grab it. Scarcity says if I spend this, it won't come back. Scarcity says money is finite, and I'm in competition with everyone else for the limited supply. But abundance frequency says there's more where that came from. You spend money and trust more will come. You give money away and know it will return multiplied. You see someone else succeed and feel excited because their success proves what's possible. There's no panic, no hoarding, no white-knuckling your resources. Just a calm knowing that flow is constant and you're always connected to source. The eighth wealth song is "I Trust My Inner Guidance." Wealth requires intuition. The best financial decisions often don't make logical sense in the moment. Your mind says play it safe, but your gut says take the risk. Your mind says stay in the secure job, but your gut says leave and start the business. People on the abundance frequency trust their inner knowing. They've learned to distinguish between fear-based thoughts and intuition-based guidance. And they follow the guidance even when it's scary, because they know their inner wisdom is connected to the larger prosperity flow, and that wisdom will never steer them wrong. This song keeps you connected to that guidance, and courageous enough to follow it. The 9th wealth song is I Am the Source. This is the most advanced frequency. Most people think money comes from their job, their clients, their investments, or their inheritance. They think the source is outside themselves, so they give all their power away. They wait for permission. They need validation. They think they're at the mercy of external conditions. But people on the Huatulco frequency know something radical. They are the source, not in an egotistical way, in an energetic way. They understand that their consciousness is what creates their reality. Their frequency is what determines their experience. Money doesn't come from out there. It comes through them. They're the generative point, the channel, the magnet. And when you run this song, you stop feeling like a victim of circumstances. You become the creator of your financial reality. And that shift, that ownership, changes everything. These 9 songs need to become as automatic as breathing. You don't install them by repeating them a few times and hoping for the best. You install them through consistent practice and body-level integration. Here's how you do it. Choose 1 song per week. For 7 days, that song becomes your focus. Write it on sticky notes and put them everywhere. Set phone reminders that ping you with the song throughout the day. Say it out loud while you're driving, showering, cooking. But here's the key part. Don't just say the words. Feel them. Drop into your body and ask, what does this feel like when it's true? If something good is about to happen, how does that feel in your chest, your belly, your face? If money loves you, what does that do to your posture, your breathing, your energy? The feeling is the frequency. The words are just the delivery system. So embody the song. Live it. Breathe it. Let it become part of your operating system. After 9 weeks, you'll have all 9 songs installed. And here's what will have happened without you even realizing it. Your default mental tracks will have changed. The old songs, the scarcity loops that used to run automatically, will have been replaced. Now when something unexpected happens, instead of panicking, you'll think something good is about to happen. When you spend money, instead of fear, you'll think there's more where that came from. When an opportunity appears, instead of doubt, you'll think, I'm in the right place, at the right time. These aren't affirmations you're forcing. They're your new automatic thoughts. And automatic thoughts create automatic frequency. And automatic frequency creates automatic results. But here's where most people fail. They install new tracks and then let the old interference patterns jam the signal. They start broadcasting abundance, and then hang out with people who complain about money all day. They tune to prosperity, and then consume media that reinforces scarcity. They practice the frequency shift, and then let doubt, comparison, and fear creep back in, and slowly, without noticing, they drift back to the old station. This is why static clearing is non-negotiable. You have to identify the interference patterns and eject them before they sabotage your new frequency. There are 7 common frequency jammers. The first is comparison. Every time you compare your financial situation to someone else's, you jam your signal. Because comparison puts you in a hierarchy where someone is ahead and someone is behind. And if you perceive yourself as behind, you activate lack frequency. It doesn't matter if you're actually doing well. Comparison makes you feel like you're losing, and that feeling broadcasts the wrong signal. So you have to catch yourself every time the comparison pattern runs. Notice it, name it, and consciously redirect to your own lane. Your wealth journey is yours. Their wealth journey is theirs. No intersection, no competition, just parallel paths. The second jammer is doubt. Doubt sounds like, is this really working? Or maybe I'm fooling myself, or what if nothing changes? It's the voice that questions the process right when momentum is building. And doubt is insidious because it disguises itself as realism. It says, I'm just being practical. But doubt isn't practical. It's fear wearing a mask. And every time you entertain doubt, you split your frequency. Part of you broadcasts abundance, part of you broadcasts lack, and the signal gets muddy. Money doesn't respond to muddy signals. So when doubt shows up, you don't argue with it. You don't try to prove it wrong. You just acknowledge it and return to your practice. Doubt is a thought, not a truth. And you don't have to believe every thought you have. The third jammer is nostalgia. This one surprises people. They don't realize that constantly revisiting past financial trauma keeps them stuck in that frequency. Every time you tell the story of how you lost everything, got screwed over, or barely survived, you're reactivating the frequency of loss. Your nervous system doesn't distinguish between past and present. When you vividly recall a traumatic experience, your body responds as if it's happening now. Stress hormones flood your system, your field contracts, and you broadcast the victim frequency. I'm not saying you should pretend bad things didn't happen. I'm saying you need to stop replaying them. Stop bonding with people over shared trauma. Stop using your pain as your identity. Because as long as that story is your primary narrative, it's your primary frequency, and your bank account will match it. The fourth jammer is resentment. Resentment toward people who have money, people who didn't help you, or circumstances that hurt you. Resentment feels justified. It feels like holding people accountable. But energetically, resentment is poison. It keeps you vibrating at the frequency of injustice and victimhood. And that frequency repels wealth, because wealth flows to people who feel empowered, not people who feel wronged. You can't resent rich people and become rich. You can't hold grudges about past losses and attract new gains. Resentment is an anchor that keeps you stuck, and releasing it isn't about condoning what happened. It's about freeing yourself from the frequency prison. Forgiveness isn't for them. It's for you. The fifth jammer is urgency, the frantic energy of I need money now. This one is tricky because urgency feels like motivation, but urgency is actually panic, and panic broadcasts desperation, and desperation repels the very thing you're chasing. Think about it. Have you ever noticed that when you're desperate for money, opportunities dry up, but when you relax and trust, things open up? That's not coincidence. That's frequency. Desperation says, I don't have, I'm not safe, I'm running out, and the universe matches that. Calm says, I'm taken care of, I trust the flow, what I need is on its way, and the universe matches that instead. So when you catch yourself in urgency, pause, breathe, slow down. Remind yourself that urgency is fear, not truth, and return to trust. The sixth jammer is apology. Apologizing for wanting money. Apologizing for charging what you're worth. Apologizing for having ambition. This jammer shows up especially in people who were taught that wanting wealth is selfish or greedy. They broadcast abundance, but then immediately undercut it with apology energy. I want to make more money, but I'm not greedy, I promise. I'm raising my prices, but I feel so bad about it. I'm doing well, but I know other people are struggling. That apology energy splits your frequency. It says, I want this, but I also think I'm wrong for wanting it. And that contradiction creates a muddy signal that confuses the flow. You don't have to apologize for prosperity. You don't have to make yourself small to make others comfortable. Your wealth doesn't take from anyone else. Abundance isn't a pie with limited slices. So stop apologizing and start owning your desire for financial freedom. The seventh jammer is performance. Trying to prove your worth through overwork, overgiving, or over-effort. This jammer says if I just do enough, I'll finally deserve money. But deserve is a scarcity concept. Abundance frequency doesn't operate on deserve. It operates on alignment. You don't earn your way into prosperity. You tune into it. And when you're stuck in performance mode, you're broadcasting, I'm not enough, so I have to compensate. That frequency creates exhaustion and burnout, not wealth, because you're trying to force results instead of allowing flow. The most abundant people I know work less than you'd expect, not because they're lazy, because they've stopped confusing activity with alignment. They focus on high-frequency actions and let go of the rest, and money flows to them with ease. So how do you clear these jammers when they show up? First, you have to catch them. This requires awareness. Most people are so identified with their patterns they don't even notice they're running. So you need to become an observer of your own thoughts and feelings throughout the day. Check in. What am I thinking about money right now? What am I feeling in my body? Is this thought or feeling aligned with abundance or with lack? Just that awareness creates space. You're no longer unconsciously running the pattern. You're consciously witnessing it. And conscious witnessing is the first step to dismantling it. Once you've caught the jammer, name it. Say to yourself, this is comparison, or this is doubt, or this is resentment. Naming it takes away its power. It's no longer this overwhelming truth. It's just a pattern, a frequency you've been running. And patterns can be changed. After naming it, you interrupt it. You literally say out loud or in your mind, I'm choosing a different frequency. And then you deliberately run one of your 9 wealth songs. Replace the jammer with a track that serves you. Replace comparison with I'm in the right place at the right time. Replace doubt with money loves me. Replace resentment with there's more where that came from. You're not suppressing the jammer. You're redirecting your attention. And where attention goes, energy flows. Now let's talk about building your 24-hour prosperity playlist, because the morning practice sets your frequency and the 9 songs maintain it, but you need a complete loop that runs automatically. This is where you become strategic about your mental diet. Most people let their thoughts run wild. They wake up and immediately start thinking about problems. They scroll through social media and absorb other people's anxiety. They listen to news that reinforces fear. They spend time with people who complain. And then they wonder why they feel terrible. And their bank account reflects it. Your mental environment determines your frequency. And your frequency determines your reality. So you have to curate your mental environment as carefully as you'd curate your physical health. Your morning sets the tone for the entire day. This is when your brain is most impressionable. The first thoughts you think, the first content you consume, the first conversations you have, they all imprint on your nervous system. So the morning is sacred. No phone for the first 30 minutes. No email. No news. No other people's energy. Just you, your practice, and your frequency calibration. You do your 3-minute tuning fork technique. Then you either journal about what you're calling in financially, or you visualize your abundant life in vivid detail. This is encoding the frequency while your brain is still in alpha wave state. It's powerful, and it sets your baseline for the day. Mid-morning, you need a frequency check-in. Set a reminder for 2 hours after you wake up. When it goes off, pause whatever you're doing. Take 3 deep breaths. Notice what frequency you've drifted to. Are you still in abundance, or did stress pull you back to scarcity? If you've drifted, run your tuning fork practice again. Just 60 seconds. Breathe. Repeat your core phrase and reconnect to the feeling of abundance. This check-in prevents you from spending the entire day on the wrong frequency. It's like course correction. You're not trying to be perfect. You're just staying aware and adjusting as needed. Lunchtime is another critical point. Most people eat while scrolling, watching something, or talking about stressful things. And they wonder why they have digestion issues and feel drained in the afternoon. Your body can't rest and digest while your nervous system is activated. So make lunch a frequency ritual. Eat without distraction. Taste your food. Appreciate it. Run the song I always have what I need while you eat. Feel grateful that you have food, money to buy food, and time to eat. This keeps you in the abundance frequency and supports your vagal tone. And bonus, you'll actually enjoy your food and feel satisfied instead of still hungry after eating. Afternoon is when most people hit an energy slump. This is when doubt, frustration, and scarcity thinking creep in. You're tired. Things aren't moving as fast as you want. The email you were hoping for didn't come. And suddenly, you're spiraling into what if this never works? This is when you need a pattern interrupt. Go outside for 5 minutes. Walk. Breathe fresh air. Look at the sky. Reset your nervous system. Then run the song "Something Good Is About to Happen." Say it out loud if you can. Feel it in your body. And trust that the afternoon slump is just your body's natural rhythm, not evidence that your life is falling apart. The frequency shift here changes everything. Instead of spending the rest of the day in a scarcity spiral, you reset and move forward in alignment. Evening is for integration. This is when you review your day and reinforce your new frequency. Before dinner, take 5 minutes to journal about any money that came in today, any opportunities that appeared, any evidence that your frequency is shifting. This trains your brain to look for proof of abundance instead of proof of lack. And whatever you focus on expands. If you focus on what's not working, you'll see more of that. If you focus on what is working, even tiny things, you'll see more of that. So evening integration is about deliberate focus. You're telling your subconscious what to amplify. Before bed, you do your final frequency lock-in. This is when you set your subconscious programming for the night. Your subconscious is most receptive right before sleep. So the last things you think and feel before you drift off become the material your subconscious works with overnight. No scrolling in bed, no stressful conversations, no worrying about tomorrow. Instead, you do a brief visualization. Picture yourself waking up to evidence of abundance, money in your account, an email with good news, an unexpected gift. See it, feel it. Let your body experience it as if it's already happened. Then fall asleep in that feeling. Your subconscious will process it all night, and you'll wake up closer to that frequency than you were when you went to sleep. That's your 24-hour playlist. Morning practice, mid-morning check-in, lunch ritual, afternoon reset, evening integration, bedtime programming. It sounds like a lot, but each piece is just a few minutes. And together they create a consistent frequency loop that runs automatically. After 30 days, you won't have to think about it. It will be habit, and your baseline frequency will have permanently shifted. You'll be the person who expects good things, the person money flows to, the person who trusts the process, not because you're forcing it, because you've recalibrated your receiver. Now let's address something that derails most people: social frequency matching. You can do everything right with your own frequency, but if you're surrounded by people broadcasting scarcity, you'll struggle to maintain your signal, because we're wired for connection, and connection means resonance. When you spend time with someone, your nervous systems sync up. This is called co-regulation. It's why you feel calm around certain people and anxious around others. They're not doing anything to you. Your system is just matching theirs. And if the people you spend the most time with are in scarcity frequency, your system will keep pulling you back there. Not because you're weak, because you're human. And humans are influenced by the fields they're in. Maria found this out the hard way. She'd been practicing the frequency shift for 6 weeks. Her anxiety about money had decreased. She was starting to feel hopeful. Opportunities were showing up. She felt like things were finally changing. And then she went home for the holidays. Within 2 days of being around her family, she was right back in scarcity mode. Her mother complained about bills nonstop. Her sister made passive-aggressive comments about money. Her father lectured her about being more responsible. And even though Maria knew better intellectually, her nervous system absorbed it all. She left feeling hopeless, defeated, and convinced that her frequency work had been a waste of time. But here's what Maria didn't understand yet. She hadn't protected her signal. She'd walked into a low-frequency environment without any boundaries. She let other people's scarcity thinking infiltrate her field, and because she was still building her new frequency, it wasn't strong enough to override the collective pull. This doesn't mean you have to cut off your family. It means you have to be strategic about your energy. Before you enter a low-frequency environment, you consciously strengthen your signal. You do an extra long tuning fork practice. You run your wealth songs on repeat. You remind yourself that their frequency is not yours. And during the interaction, you stay aware. You notice when you start to match their energy. And you excuse yourself. Go to the bathroom and reset. You protect your frequency like you'd protect a flame in the wind. Because right now, while you're still building, your frequency is vulnerable. It needs protection. Over time, your frequency will get strong enough that you can be around anyone without losing your signal. In fact, you'll become the person who shifts the room. People will feel lighter around you. They'll stop complaining as much. They'll start seeing possibilities they couldn't see before. Because frequency is contagious, and strong signals influence weak signals, not the other way around. But until you get there, you have to be discerning about who you spend time with. Not judgmental, discerning. There's a difference. Look at your current relationships. Who leaves you feeling expanded, hopeful, and energized? Who leaves you feeling drained, anxious, and small? The expanded people are high-frequency matches. Spend more time with them. The drained people are low-frequency matches. Limit your exposure. This isn't about being superior. It's about recognizing that you're in a recalibration process, and during recalibration, you need support, not sabotage. Find people who believe in abundance, who celebrate your wins without jealousy, who talk about possibilities instead of problems, who are building their own wealth frequency. These are your people right now. They'll help you stay on channel. And if you can't find those people in your current circles, find them elsewhere. Online communities, masterminds, workshops, wherever people who are doing this work gather. Because isolation in a frequency shift is dangerous. You need mirrors. You need people who can reflect back the frequency you're building so you can see that it's real. And you need accountability. Someone who will call you out when you're drifting back to old patterns. This work is not meant to be done alone. Frequency shifts happen faster and stick longer when they're supported by community. Let's talk now about the Huatulco money tide and rhythmic receiving. This is a concept that will either blow your mind or feel completely obvious depending on how tuned in you already are. In Huatulco, people don't force, they flow. They pay attention to natural rhythms and work with them instead of against them. They know there are times to push and times to rest, times to ask and times to receive, times to plant and times to harvest. And because they're synced with these rhythms, their lives feel effortless. Things happen in right timing. Money flows in cycles that feel natural, not chaotic. Most people live in constant pushing mode. They wake up pushing. They go through the day pushing. They fall asleep thinking about what they need to push tomorrow. And they're exhausted, burned out, and frustrated that the pushing isn't creating the results they want. But here's what they don't understand. Prosperity has a rhythm, and forcing against the rhythm creates resistance. It's like trying to swim against a riptide. You can exhaust yourself and make no progress, or you can recognize the current, swim parallel to it, and let it carry you where you want to go with ease. The first rhythm to understand is your personal energy cycle. You have times of day when you're naturally more creative, focused, or social. Most people ignore this and try to be productive all day long. They wonder why mornings feel impossible, or why afternoons are a slog. But if you track your energy for a week, you will see clear patterns. And when you align your high-frequency actions with your high-energy times, everything gets easier. Don't schedule important client calls during your low-energy window. Don't try to do creative work when your brain is fried. Work with your rhythm. and you'll accomplish more in less time with better results. The second rhythm is the lunar cycle. I know some of you just rolled your eyes, but stay with me. The moon affects tides, which means it affects water. Your body is 60% water. The gravitational pull that moves oceans moves the water in your cells too. This isn't woo-woo, it's physics. And cultures that live close to nature, like Huatulco, have known this forever. The new moon is for planting intentions. It's a time of new beginnings, fresh starts, and setting goals. The full moon is for releasing. It's a time to let go of what's not working, clear blocks, and make space for new things to come in. And the 2 weeks in between are for action and rest, respectively. If you align your financial actions with the lunar cycle, you'll notice things flow better, start new projects, or launch new offers around the new moon. Follow up on opportunities and take inspired action during the waxing phase. Celebrate wins and assess what's working during the full moon. And release, rest, and integrate during the waning phase. You don't have to believe in moon magic for this to work. You just have to recognize that rhythm exists and experiment with working with it instead of against it. Track it for 3 months and see what happens. Most people are shocked at how much easier things feel when they stop pushing all the time and start flowing with natural cycles. The third rhythm is seasonal, not just weather seasons, although those matter too, but personal seasons. There are seasons in your business, your creativity, and your finances. Sometimes you're in a season of planting. You're putting in work, making connections, and building foundations. No money is coming in yet, but you're creating the conditions for future harvest. If you expect harvest during planting season, you'll be disappointed and assume something is wrong. But nothing is wrong. You're just in the wrong part of the cycle for that result. Other times, you're in a season of growth. Things are happening. Momentum is building. This is when you stay consistent, keep showing up, and trust that the seeds you planted are growing, even if you can't see them yet. And then, sometimes, you're in harvest season. Money flows in. Opportunities appear everywhere. Everything you've been working toward lands at once. This is when you receive, celebrate, and give thanks. But you don't expect harvest to last forever, because after harvest comes rest, a season of integration, recovery, and preparation for the next planting cycle. Most people don't understand seasons, so they panic during planting and rest seasons because money isn't flowing. Or they burn out during harvest seasons because they don't know how to receive without guilt. Or they skip rest seasons and wonder why they feel depleted and resentful. But when you understand rhythm, you relax. You trust the cycle. You know that every season has a purpose, and you align your actions and expectations with where you actually are instead of where you think you should be. Take a moment and ask yourself, what season am I in right now financially? Be honest. Are you in planting, growth, harvest, or rest? And is your current behavior aligned with that season? If you're in planting and trying to force harvest, you're creating resistance. If you're in harvest and not receiving, you're blocking flow. If you're in rest and feeling guilty about it, you're missing the entire point. Rhythm isn't about productivity. It's about alignment, and alignment is what creates sustainable prosperity. Now let's talk about amplification. Once you've tuned your frequency, installed your songs, cleared your jammers, protected your signal, and synced with natural rhythms, you're ready to turn up the volume. Amplification is about intensity. It's about taking your already aligned frequency and making it so strong that money can't help but respond. This is advanced work. Don't skip to this if you haven't done the foundational pieces, because amplification without alignment just magnifies chaos. But amplification with alignment creates exponential results. There are 3 amplification levers: The first is gratitude voltage. Most people practice gratitude like it's a chore. They write 3 things they're grateful for in a journal and check the box. But that's low voltage gratitude. It's mental. It's surface. It doesn't create a strong enough field to shift frequency. High voltage gratitude is different. It's a full body experience. It's gratitude so intense you feel it in your chest, your throat, your eyes. It's the kind of gratitude that brings tears. The kind that makes you say out loud, "I can't believe this is my life." That's high voltage. And that level of intensity broadcasts a signal so strong, it magnetizes abundance instantly. Here's how you cultivate high-voltage gratitude. Once a week, you're going to do a gratitude immersion. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and start calling to mind everything you're grateful for. But don't just list things. Feel them. Remember specific moments. See faces. Hear voices. Let the feeling build. Start with basics. I'm grateful for my breath, for my heartbeat, for my body that carries me through life. Then move to relationships. I'm grateful for the people who love me, for the moments of connection, for the times I've been seen and held. Then move to experiences. I'm grateful for the sunrises I've witnessed, for the meals that nourished me, for the lessons that grew me. Keep going. Let the gratitude build until it's almost overwhelming, until you're smiling, maybe crying, feeling completely full. That's high voltage, and when you're in that state, your frequency is so high that abundance has no choice but to flow to you. The second amplification lever is visualization clarity. Most people visualize in vague, fuzzy ways. They think about having more money, but they don't see it. They imagine success, but it's abstract. That's low-resolution visualization. It doesn't create enough specificity for your subconscious to lock onto. High-resolution visualization is different. It's seeing your abundant life in 4K detail. You're not just imagining having more money. You're seeing the exact number in your bank account. You're feeling the weight of your phone in your hand as you check the balance. You're noticing the specific emotions that arise. Relief, joy, pride. You're seeing what you're wearing, where you're standing, who you're with. The more specific the visualization, the more real it becomes to your nervous system. And the more real it becomes, the faster it manifests. Here's a practice for building visualization clarity. Once a day, spend 5 minutes visualizing one specific abundant moment. Not your entire dream life. Just one moment. Maybe it's opening an email that says your payment went through for an amount that changes your life. See the email. Read the words. Feel your heart rate increase. Notice your hands shaking slightly. See yourself screaming with joy or sitting in stunned silence. What do you do next? Who do you call? What do you say? Live that moment in your mind with so much detail that your body believes it's happening. Do this with the same moment for 7 days straight. By day 7, that moment will feel more real than your current reality, and your frequency will have locked onto it. And the universe, responding to that locked frequency, will start moving pieces into place to make it actual. The third amplification lever is embodiment depth. This is the most advanced and most powerful. Embodiment means living as if the abundance is already here. Not pretending, not faking it till you make it. Actually embodying the frequency of wealth in your body, your choices, your energy. This is what separates people who think about abundance from people who live it. When you embody abundance, you walk differently, you talk differently, you make decisions differently, you spend money differently. Not because you're trying to impress anyone, because your internal frequency has shifted so completely that your external behavior naturally aligns. Let me give you an example. Someone who embodies wealth doesn't pinch pennies on things that bring them joy. They don't agonize over a $20 purchase. They don't feel guilty for spending on themselves, not because they're reckless, because they trust there's more coming. They know that restricting flow creates more restriction, so they spend with ease, tip generously, and invest in quality. Meanwhile, someone not embodying wealth, even if they have money, hoards it, overthinks every purchase, feels guilty for enjoying it, and unconsciously signals to the universe that there's not enough. And the universe, matching that signal, creates more not enough. Embodiment also shows up in how you receive compliments, opportunities, and gifts. Someone embodying wealth says thank you with no deflection, no explanation, no minimizing. They receive cleanly because they know they're worthy. Someone not embodying wealth says, oh, it was nothing, or I got lucky, or anyone could have done it. They deflect because deep down they don't believe they deserve good things. And that deflection is a frequency broadcast that pushes abundance away. So how do you deepen embodiment? You start making choices from your future self instead of your current self. Every time you have a decision to make, you ask, what would the version of me who's already abundant choose here? And you do that, even if it's scary, even if it doesn't make logical sense, because your future self isn't making decisions from fear. They're making decisions from alignment. And the more you practice being your future self now, the faster you collapse the timeline and become them. Here's a scenario. You're deciding whether to invest in a program, a coach, or a tool that costs more than you're comfortable with. Your current self says, I can't afford this. It's too risky. What if it doesn't work? But your future self, the one already living in abundance, says this is the exact kind of investment that got me here. I trust myself. I trust the process. I know this will pay off. Which voice do you listen to? If you listen to current self, you stay stuck in current reality. If you listen to future self, you take the leap and shift frequency. Embodiment means consistently choosing from future self, even when it's uncomfortable. And every time you do, you prove to yourself that you're becoming that person. And your frequency amplifies. Now we need to talk about maintenance. Because here's what happens to most people. They do the work. They shift their frequency. Money starts flowing. Life gets better. And they get complacent. They stop the practices. They think they've arrived. And slowly, without noticing, they drift back to the old frequency. Not because the new frequency didn't work, because they stopped maintaining it. Frequency is like fitness. You don't go to the gym for 3 months, get in shape, and then never work out again expecting to stay fit. You have to maintain it. The same is true for prosperity frequency. The good news is maintenance is easier than installation. Once you've done the heavy lifting of shifting your baseline, you just need simple daily practices to keep it locked. Here's your maintenance protocol. Every single morning, non-negotiable, you do the 3-minute tuning fork practice. This is your foundation. Miss this and you'll drift. Every evening, you do a 2-minute review. What evidence of abundance showed up today? What frequency did I mostly broadcast? Where did I drift? What do I need to adjust tomorrow? This keeps you aware and course-correcting in real time. Once a week, you do a deeper audit. Pull out your journal and answer these questions. What old patterns tried to come back this week? What situations triggered my scarcity frequency? How did I handle it? What am I celebrating? What do I need to strengthen? This weekly check-in catches drift before it becomes a relapse, because drift is sneaky. You don't wake up one day back in full scarcity mode. You drift gradually. A stressful week and you skip your morning practice. A disappointment and you start doubting. A comparison and you feel behind. And if you're not paying attention, those little drifts compound. But if you're doing weekly audits, you catch them early and correct course immediately. Once a month, you do a full recalibration. Revisit the tuning fork practice, but extend it to 10 minutes. Go back through the 9 wealth songs and notice if any have weakened. Reinstall them. Check your social frequency field. Are you still surrounding yourself with high-frequency people? Or have you let low-frequency influences creep back in? Assess your embodiment. Are you still making choices from your abundant future self? Or have you slipped back to playing small? This monthly deep dive keeps you honest. It prevents the slow fade that sabotages most people's progress. And here's your emergency protocol for when life throws you a curveball. Because it will. You'll have a financial setback, a big expense, a loss, a disappointment, and your first instinct will be to panic, spiral, and convince yourself that none of this frequency work was real. That's the moment that determines whether the shift sticks or not. If you panic, you're back on the old frequency. If you pause, breathe, and use your tools, you stay on the new frequency. So here's what you do. The moment you feel the drift, stop everything. Don't make decisions. Don't take action. Just stop. Sit down. Put your hand on your heart. Take 10 slow breaths. Remind yourself out loud, I am safe. I trust the process. This is temporary. Then do your tuning fork practice. Then run your wealth songs. Then call someone in your high-frequency community and let them hold the abundance frequency for you until you can hold it again yourself. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. You're using your support systems the way they're meant to be used. The most important thing to understand about maintenance is this. You're not trying to be perfect. You're going to have days when you forget the practice, days when you spiral, days when you doubt everything. That's human. That's normal. The difference between someone who sustains the shift and someone who loses it is simple. The person who sustains it doesn't judge themselves for the drift. They just notice it and reset. The person who loses it judges themselves, feels like a failure, decides the whole thing was stupid and quits. Don't be that person. Be the person who stumbles and gets back up, who drifts and resets, who fails and tries again, because that's how frequency shifts become permanent. Not through perfection, through persistence. Finally, let's talk about legacy, because the ultimate expression of the Huatulco frequency is generational transmission. It's not just about you becoming wealthy, it's about passing the prosperity vibration to your children, your partner, and your community, so that wealth becomes the default setting for everyone you love. This is how Huatulco works. Parents don't just give their kids money, they give them the frequency. They model trust, they demonstrate ease, they teach rhythms, and the kids absorb it at the nervous system level. It becomes their normal, and they pass it to their kids, and wealth becomes the lineage frequency, not the exception. You can do the same thing. If you have children, you teach them the wealth songs. You don't lecture them about money. You let them hear you running the songs out loud. Something good is about to happen. Money loves us. There's more where that came from. Kids are sponges. They'll absorb your frequency faster than any lesson you could teach. And if you're broadcasting abundance consistently, they'll wire their nervous systems to match. You're giving them the greatest inheritance possible. Not money, frequency. Because frequency creates money. But money without frequency disappears in one generation. If you have a partner, you bring them into the practice. You do the tuning fork technique together. You share your wealth songs. You celebrate evidence of abundance as a team. This synchronizes your frequencies. And when two people broadcast the same prosperity signal, the amplification is exponential. You're not just doubling the effect. You're creating a unified field that's 10 times stronger. And money flows to that kind of coherence. If you're part of a community, you become the frequency holder. You're the person who stays calm when everyone else panics. You're the person who sees possibilities when everyone else sees problems. You're the person who reminds others that abundance is available. You don't preach. You don't push. You just hold the frequency so steady that people naturally start to match it. And slowly, your family, your friends, your colleagues, they start shifting too. Not because you convince them, because frequency is contagious, and yours is strong enough to influence the field. Imagine a world where everyone you love is on the abundance frequency, where financial stress is a distant memory, where opportunities flow easily, where wealth is natural. That's not fantasy. That's what happens when you do this work and bring others along. You become the origin point of a new frequency in your lineage, and generations from now, your great-grandchildren will benefit from the shift you made today. They won't even know your name, but they'll live in ease because you broke the scarcity pattern. That's legacy. So let's bring this full circle. You started this audiobook on the wrong frequency. You were tuned to scarcity, survival, or struggle. Your nervous system was broadcasting lack. Your bank account was reflecting it. But now you know something different. You know wealth is a vibration. You know you have a receiver. You know that receiver can be retuned. And you know exactly how to do it. You have the tuning fork practice. You have the 9 wealth songs. You have the interference clearing protocols. You have the 24-hour playlist. You have the social frequency strategies. You have the rhythm alignment practices. You have the amplification levers. You have the maintenance systems. And you have the legacy transmission blueprint. Everything you need is right here. The only question left is, will you do it? Will you commit to the 3 minutes every morning? Will you install the songs? Will you protect your signal? Will you trust the process even when it feels like nothing is happening? Because here's the truth. This works. It's worked for Huatulco residents for generations. It's worked for everyone I've taught it to who actually implemented it. And it will work for you. Not because I said so. Because frequency is law. When you shift your vibration, your reality shifts. It's not optional. It's physics. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. And let yourself imagine your life 90 days from now. You wake up and your first thought isn't anxiety. It's peace. You check your bank account, and there's more than you expected. You go through your day, and opportunities appear. Someone offers you something. Money comes in unexpectedly. Doors open that were closed before. And it doesn't feel like luck. It feels natural, like the universe is finally working with you instead of against you. You're still you. You're still in the same body, the same city, the same life. But everything feels different, lighter, easier. More abundant, because your frequency changed and your reality changed with it. That version of you isn't far away. It's not years down the road. It's 90 days, 3 months, 12 weeks, and the only thing standing between current you and future you is consistency. 3 minutes a morning, 9 songs installed over 9 weeks, daily awareness, weekly audits, monthly recalibrations. That's it. That's the bridge. And every single day you practice, you're walking across that bridge. 1 step closer, 1 frequency shift closer, until one morning you wake up and realize you're already there. You're already the person who lives in abundance, not because you earned it or deserved it or got lucky, because you tuned into it. Your prosperity playlist isn't something you create. It's something you discover. It's already playing. The frequency of abundance is already broadcasting 24 hours a day. Money is already flowing. Opportunities are already available. The Huatulco vibration exists everywhere, not just in Mexico. It's in your city, your neighborhood, your living room. Because it's not about geography. It's about frequency. And frequency is accessible to anyone willing to tune in. You've been trying to force your way to wealth. But force creates resistance. Now you know a different way. The way of resonance. The way of alignment. The way of trust. So here's my invitation to you. For the next 90 days, treat this like an experiment. Don't worry about believing it. Don't worry about getting it perfect. Just do the practices. Track what happens. Notice the shifts. And at the end of 90 days, look at your bank account. Look at your opportunities. Look at your nervous system and decide for yourself if this worked. I already know what you'll find. You'll find more money, more ease, more flow, more joy. Not because I'm special or because you're special, because frequency is neutral. It works for everyone who applies it. And you're about to prove that to yourself. Now let's get extremely practical, because knowing the concepts is one thing. Living them day by day is another. I'm going to walk you through a complete 90-day transformation protocol. This isn't theory anymore. This is your exact roadmap. Every day, every week, every challenge you'll face, and exactly how to handle it. By the time we're done, you'll have a complete operating system for permanent prosperity frequency. Let's start with week 1. This is Foundation Week. You're not trying to manifest $1 million. You're not trying to overhaul your entire life. You're simply installing the baseline practice and starting to notice your current frequency. That's it. Day 1, you wake up, and before you do anything else, before you check your phone, before you think about your to-do list, you sit on the edge of your bed and you take 3 conscious breaths. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold for 4 counts. Exhale for 6 counts. Just 3 breaths. That's your entry point into intentional frequency management. After those 3 breaths, you say out loud, "Today I'm tuning into abundance." You don't have to believe it yet. You're just declaring your intention. Then you go about your morning, but you set a timer for mid-morning. When that timer goes off, you stop whatever you're doing and you ask yourself one question. What frequency have I been broadcasting for the last 2 hours? Scarcity, survival, or abundance? Just notice. Don't judge. Just become aware. Write it down if you can. This is data collection. You're learning your patterns. Day 2, you add the humming practice. Same 3 conscious breaths to start. Then you place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, and you hum for 30 seconds. Low and steady. Feel the vibration in your chest. This is activating your vagus nerve and signaling safety to your system. After humming, you say the same declaration. Today, I'm tuning into abundance. Then, throughout the day, every time you think about money, you notice what happens in your body. Does your chest tighten? Does your stomach clench? Does your breathing change? Just notice. You're building body awareness because your body holds your frequency, not your mind. And until you know what your body is doing, you can't shift it. Day 3, you add the phrase repetition. 3 breaths, 30 seconds of humming. Then you repeat this phrase 10 times slowly. Money flows to me because I am open to receive. Say it out loud if possible. Whisper it if you're around others. But let your ears hear it. Your nervous system responds differently to spoken words than to thoughts. There's something about hearing your own voice say a new truth that starts to rewire the pattern. After your morning practice, you go on a gratitude hunt. Sometime during the day, you find 3 pieces of evidence that you're already taken care of. Maybe your car started this morning. Maybe you had food for breakfast. Maybe someone smiled at you. Tiny things count. You're training your brain to look for abundance that's already present instead of focusing on what's missing. Day 4, you add the abundance memory activation. 3 breaths, humming, phrase repetition. Then you close your eyes and recall one moment from your life when you felt completely abundant. Maybe it was a moment in childhood when you had no worries. Maybe it was a vacation when you felt free. Maybe it was a moment when unexpected money showed up. Find that memory. Drop into it. Feel it in your body for 60 seconds. Let your cells remember what abundance feels like. This is crucial. Your nervous system learns through repetition of feeling states. Every time you activate an abundance memory, you're strengthening that neural pathway. You're making abundance more familiar than scarcity. And familiar feels safe. And safe feels like home. And home is where your system wants to live. Day 5, you start tracking. Get a notebook or open a note on your phone. After your morning practice, you're going to write down 3 things. First, what was my dominant frequency yesterday? Second, what evidence of abundance showed up, even tiny things? Third, what old pattern tried to pull me back to scarcity? You're not journaling your feelings. You're collecting data. You're becoming a scientist of your own frequency. And here's what you'll notice. Just the act of tracking changes your behavior. When you know you're going to write down your frequency at the end of the day, you stay more aware during the day. You catch yourself drifting. You course correct faster. Tracking creates accountability to yourself, and that accountability accelerates the shift. Day 6, everything you've learned so far comes together. 3 breaths, humming, phrase repetition, abundance memory, and then you add 1 new piece. You're going to speak to your nervous system directly. After activating your abundance memory, you say this out loud. Nervous system, thank you for trying to keep me safe. I know you've been running scarcity patterns because you thought that would protect me. But I'm safe now, and I'm ready to receive. You can relax. We're tuning to abundance now. This might sound strange, but your nervous system responds to direct communication. It's been running automatic programs for decades, and those programs were installed to protect you. So you're not fighting your nervous system. You're not overriding it with willpower. You're thanking it and giving it permission to update. This is gentle. This is collaborative. And it works. Day 7 is review and integration day. You don't add anything new. You simply do the full morning practice that you've built over 6 days. 3 breaths, humming, phrase repetition, abundance memory, nervous system communication. Then you sit with your tracking notes from the week. Read through them. Notice patterns. Where did you drift most often? What situations triggered scarcity? What moments felt easiest? You're looking for trends. And then you write 1 sentence. This week I learned that I am capable of shifting my frequency. That's it. You're acknowledging your effort and your progress. You're reinforcing that this is working, because it is. Even if you don't see external changes yet, internal recalibration is happening. And internal always precedes external. Week 2 is about song installation. You're going to take the 9 wealth songs and start building them into your automatic thinking. But you're only going to focus on 1 song this week, the first song. Something good is about to happen. Every morning after your tuning fork practice, you say this song out loud 5 times. But here's the key. You don't just say the words. You embody them. You let your face relax into a slight smile. You let your shoulders drop. You take a breath that says, I'm excited about what's coming. You're teaching your body what this frequency feels like. Then throughout the day, every single time you're about to do something, you whisper this song. About to check your email? Something good is about to happen. About to walk into a meeting? Something good is about to happen. About to answer the phone? Something good is about to happen. You're reconditioning your default expectation. Day 8, you start with the song 5 times. Then you go about your day, whispering it before actions. But here's your challenge. Every time something unexpected happens, even something small, you say out loud or to yourself, see, something good is happening. You're training your brain to interpret events through the abundance lens. The barista gave you extra change back. Something good is happening. You hit green lights on your drive. Something good is happening. Someone complimented you. Something good is happening. You're building evidence, and evidence creates belief, and belief strengthens frequency. Day 9, same song repetition, but now you add a body anchor. Every time you say something good is about to happen, you touch your heart with your right hand. You're creating a physical anchor for the frequency. Later, when you're stressed or scared, you can touch your heart, and your body will remember this feeling. You're literally programming your nervous system with a reset button. Use it 10 times throughout the day. Before meals, before decisions, before conversations. Touch your heart and run the song. You're layering the pattern deeper and deeper. Day 10, you're going to teach the song to your body through movement. After your morning practice, you say the song while walking. Something good is about to happen. Step. Something good is about to happen. Step. Let your body move with the rhythm of the words. Walk around your house or outside for 2 minutes while repeating the song and touching your heart. Movement integrates frequency faster than stillness because your body learns through kinesthetic experience. This might feel silly. Do it anyway. Silly is just your ego's resistance to change. Your body doesn't care about silly. It just absorbs the pattern. Day 11. You're going to test the song under pressure. Set up a situation that normally makes you anxious. Maybe it's checking your bank account. Maybe it's opening bills. Maybe it's thinking about a financial goal that feels impossible. Before you do the anxiety-inducing thing, you run the song 20 times while touching your heart. Something good is about to happen. Let the repetition build a protective field around you. Then do the thing. Check the account. Open the bill. Think about the goal and notice if the song softened your fear even slightly. It probably did. You're reconditioning your nervous system's response to financial stress. This is how you rewire. Day 12, you take the song into your social field. Choose one person you interact with today. Before you engage with them, run the song silently. Something good is about to happen. Then, during your interaction, stay curious about what good thing might emerge. Maybe they say something encouraging. Maybe they offer an opportunity. Maybe they just make you laugh. Whatever happens, afterward you acknowledge it. That was the good thing. You're learning that good things are everywhere when you're tuned to see them. And the more you see them, the more they appear. Not because you're manifesting them out of thin air, because your frequency is finally matching the abundance that was always there. Day 13, song integration continues, but now you add a challenge. At some point today, you're going to face a disappointment, maybe small, maybe big. When it happens, instead of spiraling, you pause. You take 3 breaths, you touch your heart, and you say the song with conviction. Something good is about to happen. You're not denying the disappointment. You're choosing your response to it. You're deciding that this disappointment isn't the end of the story. It's a redirection, and something good is about to emerge from it. This is advanced work. This is choosing frequency in real time, under real pressure. And this is where transformation becomes permanent. Day 14, Week 2, Review. You sit with your tracking notes. You read through the week, and you answer these questions. How many times did I remember to run the song today? When did I forget? What situations made it easiest? What situations made it hardest? What evidence did I collect that something good is always happening? You're not judging your performance. You're assessing your patterns so you can strategize for week 3. And then you celebrate. You've installed one song. Your nervous system is learning a new default. That's massive. Most people never do this work. You're already ahead. Week 3 is about clearing interference patterns. You've been building positive frequency, but now you need to identify what's jamming your signal. This week is about becoming aware of your specific scarcity triggers. Day 15 starts with your full morning practice, including the song. Then you're going to carry a note card or use your phone to track every time you feel scarcity frequency activate during the day. You don't have to do anything about it yet. Just notice and write it down. By the end of the day, you'll have a list. Maybe you felt scarcity when you saw someone's vacation photos on social media. Maybe when you passed an expensive restaurant. Maybe when your friend talked about their new car. Just track. This is reconnaissance. Day 16, you review yesterday's list. Pick the trigger that showed up most often. That's your focus. Today, every time that trigger appears, you're going to do the interrupt protocol. The moment you feel the scarcity frequency activate, you stop. You take one deep breath. You name it out loud or silently. This is comparison, or this is fear, or this is not enough. You name the jammer. Then you say, I'm choosing a different frequency. Then you run your installed song 5 times with your heart touch. You're not suppressing the trigger. You're acknowledging it and actively choosing to shift. This is empowerment. This is taking your frequency control back. Day 17, new trigger from your list. Same protocol. Notice, name, choose, shift. You're building your trigger response library. Each time you successfully interrupt a scarcity pattern, you're weakening its grip. It's like a muscle. Scarcity patterns get weaker with disuse. Abundance patterns get stronger with use. You're strategically starving one and feeding the other. By the end of this day, you will have practiced the interrupt protocol at least 5 times. That's 5 wins. 5 moments where you chose differently than your conditioning. That's rewiring in action. Day 18, you're going to create your anti-jammer scripts. For each of your top 3 triggers, you're going to write a personalized response script. For example, if comparison is your jammer, your script might be this. When I compare myself to others, I'm forgetting that my timeline is mine. Their success doesn't diminish my opportunities. There's room for everyone to thrive. I celebrate them and trust my own path. Write scripts for your top 3 triggers, then read them out loud 5 times each. You're installing new neural pathways. Comparison triggers, new script runs automatically. Fear triggers, new script runs automatically. You're programming your system with better responses. Day 19, you're going to do a jammer fast. For the next 24 hours, you're going to avoid your biggest trigger completely. If it's social media, don't open it. If it's certain people, don't engage. If it's checking your bank balance obsessively, don't look. This isn't avoidance forever. This is giving your system a break so it can reset. It's like letting an injury heal before you use it again. One day, without the primary jammer, will show you how much mental space that pattern was taking up. And in that space, abundance frequency can grow stronger. Day 20, jammer confrontation. Today you're going to deliberately expose yourself to a trigger, but from your new frequency. Let's say your trigger is expensive things that you can't afford. Today you're going to go look at something expensive. A car, a house, a store. But before you go, you do your morning practice. You run your song 20 times, and you set this intention. I'm going to look at abundance without letting it activate scarcity. I'm going to celebrate what exists without making it mean I'm lacking. Then you go. You look. You appreciate. You enjoy. And if scarcity starts to creep in, you interrupt immediately. This is exposure therapy for your prosperity frequency. You're proving to yourself that you can be around wealth without feeling less than. Day 21, Week 3 Review. Sit with your week of tracking. Notice which jammers were strongest. Notice which interrupt protocols worked best. Notice how your relationship to triggers has shifted even slightly. And here's your big question for the week. What would my life look like if these jammers had no power over me? Sit with that. Visualize it. Feel it. Because that's where you're headed. You're not there yet, but the direction is set. And direction is everything. Week 4 is about building your personal prosperity playlist. You're going to take the structure you've learned and customize it to your specific life, schedule, and needs. Day 22. You map your energy patterns. For this entire day, every 2 hours, you check in with your energy level. Rate it 1 to 10. Notice when you're most alert, most creative, most tired, most social. By the end of the day, you'll have a clear energy map. This matters because you're going to schedule your high-frequency practices during your high-energy windows. You're not trying to force abundance frequency when you're exhausted. You're working with your natural rhythms. Day 23, you design your personalized morning routine. You've been doing the basic tuning fork practice, but now you customize it. Based on your energy map, you decide what time is best for you. Based on your living situation, you decide where is best for you. Based on your preferences, you decide how long feels right for you. Maybe you need 10 minutes instead of 3. Maybe you need to do it in your car before work instead of at home. Maybe you need music in the background. You design a routine that's sustainable for your actual life, not an idealized version of your life. Because sustainable beats perfect every single time. Day 24, you create your reminder system. Most people fail at frequency work because they forget to do it. Life gets busy, stress takes over, and the practices fall away. So today you're setting up your environment for success. You put sticky notes with your song on your bathroom mirror, your car dashboard, your computer screen. You set phone alarms with a reminder to check your frequency. You tell one trusted person what you're doing and ask them to check in with you weekly. You're building external scaffolding to support your internal shift. This isn't weakness. This is strategy. Day 25, you plan your weekly anchor ritual. Pick one time each week, same day, same time, when you're going to do a longer practice. Maybe Sunday mornings, maybe Wednesday evenings. Doesn't matter when, just that it's consistent. During this weekly anchor, you do your tuning fork practice for 15 minutes instead of 3. You review your tracking notes. You assess your frequency. You set intentions for the coming week. You recalibrate. This weekly anchor keeps you from drifting. It's your reset button, your checkpoint, your guarantee that even if daily practices slip, you have one non-negotiable time to reconnect. Day 26, you identify your frequency friends. Look at your relationships. Who in your life already operates from abundance frequency? Who lights you up? Who believes in possibilities? Who celebrates your wins? Make a list of these people. These are your frequency friends. Then decide how you can spend more time with them. Can you schedule a weekly call? Can you join them for coffee? Can you text them when you need a frequency boost? You're strategically building your social support system because you can't do this alone, and you don't have to. Day 27, you identify your frequency drains. Look at your relationships again. Who leaves you feeling depleted? Who complains constantly? Who judges your ambition? Who reinforces scarcity thinking? Make a list. You're not cutting these people off necessarily, but you're getting honest about their impact on your field. Then you decide on boundaries. Maybe you see them less. Maybe you don't talk about money with them. Maybe you practice your interrupt protocol before and after interactions with them. You're protecting your frequency like you'd protect your health, because it is your health. Day 28, Week 4. Review and celebration. You've built a complete, customized system. You have a morning routine that fits your life. You have reminders in place. You have a weekly anchor scheduled. You have frequency friends identified and frequency drains managed. This is your prosperity playlist infrastructure, and it's designed for your actual life, not some fantasy version. Write down your complete system, date it, sign it. This is your commitment to yourself. This is your frequency blueprint. And this is what you'll return to every time you drift. It's not a generic program anymore. It's yours. Now let's go deeper into relapse prevention, because this is where most people lose the game. They do the work for 30 days, see some results, feel encouraged, and then life happens. A crisis hits, money gets tight, someone close to them dies, they get sick, they lose a job, and in that moment of intense stress, every old pattern comes roaring back. Scarcity thinking floods in, panic takes over, and all the frequency work feels like it evaporated. But here's what they don't understand. The work didn't evaporate. They just didn't have a relapse protocol. They didn't know how to maintain frequency under extreme pressure. So let me give you the exact protocol for staying on frequency. even when everything is falling apart. First, understand that relapse isn't failure. It's part of the process. Your old frequency has decades of momentum. It's been your survival strategy. And in moments of real threat, your system will default to what's familiar. That's normal. That's biology. The key is catching it fast and having tools to reset. So here's your relapse early warning system. You're going to identify the first signs that you're drifting. For most people, it's physical before it's mental. Maybe you start waking up with a clenched jaw. Maybe your shoulders are up by your ears. Maybe your breathing gets shallow. Maybe you're snapping at people. These are your canaries in the coal mine. They show up before the full scarcity spiral. So you track them. And the moment you notice even one of these signs, you activate your protocol. The emergency reset protocol has 3 parts. First, you stop everything. Whatever you're doing, you stop. You don't try to push through. You don't try to solve the problem from a stressed state. You stop. You sit down if you can. You put your hand on your heart, and you take 10 breaths. Slow, deep, deliberate. You're telling your nervous system that despite the external chaos, you're safe right now. Right now, in this moment, you're breathing. You're alive. You're okay. This isn't toxic positivity. This is nervous system regulation. You can't access your prosperity frequency from a dysregulated state. So you regulate first. Second, you name what's happening without judgment. You say out loud or write down, I'm in relapse. My old frequency is trying to take over. I'm feeling scared, overwhelmed, and desperate. I'm thinking scarcity thoughts. My body is in survival mode. You're not making it wrong. You're just acknowledging reality. Because what you acknowledge, you can work with. What you deny just grows in the shadows. So you shine light on it. You see it clearly. And seeing clearly is the first step to shifting. Third, you reach out. You call or text one of your frequency friends. Not to dump on them, not to spiral together, but to say this: I'm in relapse, and I need you to hold the abundance frequency for me until I can hold it again. Can you remind me that I'm safe, and this is temporary? Your frequency friend, if they're the right person, will not try to fix you. They'll not give you advice. They'll just say things like, you've got this. This will pass. You're still on the right path. You're safe. I see you, and their steady frequency will help stabilize yours. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. You're using community the way it's meant to be used. After you've done the emergency reset, you go back to basics. You don't try to jump back to advanced practices. You start with day 1 practices. 3 breaths, humming, 1 phrase, 1 abundance memory. That's it. You rebuild from the foundation. And you do this every single day until you feel stable again. It might take 3 days. It might take 2 weeks. Doesn't matter. You're not in a rush. You're in recalibration. And recalibration requires patience and gentleness with yourself. Let me tell you about James, because his relapse story will help you understand how this actually works in real life. James had been practicing for 8 weeks. He was feeling great. His anxiety about money had dropped significantly. He'd received an unexpected bonus at work. He was starting to believe this frequency work was real. And then his dad got diagnosed with cancer. Stage 4, terminal. And in 1 phone call, James's entire world shattered. He spent the next 3 days in complete panic. Couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't think about anything except losing his father. And his money anxiety came back with a vengeance. He started obsessing about medical bills, about taking time off work, about what if he couldn't afford to help his parents. All his wealth songs disappeared. All he could hear was, "You're going to lose everything." On day 4, James was sitting in his car in a parking lot, hyperventilating, and he remembered the emergency protocol. He put his hand on his heart. He forced himself to take 10 slow breaths, and he called his frequency friend, a guy from his men's group who understood this work. His friend didn't try to fix anything. He just said, "James, I'm so sorry. This is devastating, and you're still safe. You're still held. This crisis doesn't erase the work you've done. Your frequency is just offline right now because you're in survival mode. That's okay. You don't have to be abundant right now. You just have to breathe. And James broke down, crying, because someone saw him, didn't judge him, and reminded him that relapse isn't failure. James spent the next 2 weeks doing only the most basic practice, 3 breaths every morning. That's it. He didn't try to force gratitude. He didn't try to visualize abundance. He didn't pressure himself to feel anything other than what he felt. He just breathed, and slowly the panic subsided. Not because his dad's diagnosis changed, but because his nervous system started to regulate again. And once he was regulated, he could access his frequency work again. By week 3, after the diagnosis, James was back to his full practice, and something interesting happened. He realized that even in crisis, abundance was present. People showed up to help. Money for medical expenses appeared from unexpected places. His job gave him flexibility he didn't know was available, and he saw that abundance isn't the absence of problems, it's the presence of support. And that realization deepened his frequency work more than any amount of practice could have. That's relapse and recovery. You don't avoid crisis. You learn to stay connected to abundance frequency, even in the middle of crisis. And you do that by having protocols, having support, and having compassion for yourself when you drift. So let's make sure you have your personal relapse prevention plan. Take out your journal or your phone and answer these questions now. What are my physical early warning signs that I'm drifting? Write down at least 3. For me, it's tension in my jaw, shallow breathing, and irritability. What are my emotional early warning signs? For me, it's feeling hopeless, overwhelmed, and isolated. What are my mental early warning signs? For me, it's obsessive, worst-case scenario thinking, comparison spirals, and all-or-nothing thoughts. Now write your emergency reset protocol in your own words. What exactly will you do the moment you notice you're in relapse? Be specific. Where will you go? What will you say to yourself? Who will you call? Make it so clear that even in a crisis, when your brain isn't working well, you can follow the instructions. Put this protocol somewhere visible. Take a photo of it on your phone. Print it and put it in your wallet. You're creating a rescue plan for your future self. And your future self will thank you when crisis hits. Next, identify your frequency friends right now. Write down 3 people you can call when you're in relapse. People who won't judge. People who understand this work or at least understand you. People who can hold space without trying to fix. Then, and this is important, tell them in advance. Have a conversation where you say, I'm doing this frequency work around money and abundance, and part of the process is having support when I drift. Would you be willing to be someone I call if I'm in relapse? I just need you to remind me that I'm safe, and this is temporary. You're not asking them to be your therapist. You're asking them to be a frequency anchor. Most people will say yes because it's a clear, bounded request. Now let's build out your day-by-day micro-challenges for the remaining weeks of your 90-day transformation. Week 5 is about deepening embodiment. You've been practicing frequency shifts in your mind and emotions. Now you're bringing it into your physical body and your daily actions. Day 29, your micro-challenge is this. Spend money with joy today, not recklessly, mindfully. But every purchase you make today, even if it's just coffee or gas, you make it with a feeling of abundance. You hand over the money or swipe the card and you think, there's more where this came from. I'm circulating energy. This feels good. You're reconditioning your relationship with spending. Most people clench when they spend. You're learning to open. Day 30, posture practice. Today, every time you think about money, you adjust your posture. Shoulders back, chest open, head up. You embody confidence physically, even if you don't feel it emotionally yet. Your body shapes your mind. When you hold a defeated posture, you feel defeated. When you hold an abundant posture, you start to feel abundant. It's called embodied cognition, and it's neuroscience, not woo. So today, money thoughts trigger posture adjustments. You're literally reshaping your relationship with wealth through your body. Day 31, you practice receiving. Today, every time someone offers you something, even something small, you say yes and thank you with no deflection. Someone offers to buy you coffee? Yes, thank you. Someone compliments you? Yes, thank you. Someone holds the door? Yes, thank you. No self-deprecation. No explaining why you don't deserve it. Just clean receiving. This is training, because if you can't receive a compliment, you can't receive $1 million. The pattern is the same, so you practice on small things until receiving becomes natural. Day 32, you practice giving. Today, you're going to give something away without attachment. Maybe you tip generously. Maybe you buy someone's meal behind you in line. Maybe you donate to a cause you care about. But here's the key. You give, and then you immediately say to yourself, there's more where that came from. You're proving to yourself that you're not hoarding, that you trust flow, that giving doesn't deplete you. This is circulation, and circulation is how energy moves. Hoarding stops flow. Circulating increases flow. You're embodying the abundance principle. Day 33, you speak abundance. Today you're going to monitor your language about money. Every time you catch yourself about to say, I can't afford that, or I'm so broke, or money is tight, you stop and rephrase. I'm choosing not to prioritize that right now. Or I'm focusing my resources elsewhere. Or I'm in a season of building. Same reality, different frequency. Your words shape your thoughts. Your thoughts shape your frequency. Your frequency shapes your reality. So you become impeccable with your language. This isn't fake positivity. This is precise communication. Day 34. You walk like you're wealthy. Literally. Today when you walk anywhere, you walk like someone who has more than enough. Relaxed pace. Head up. Confident stride. You're not rushing. You're not hunched. You're not trying to be invisible. You take up space. You move through the world like you belong. And as you walk, you run your wealth song. Something good is about to happen. You're integrating frequency into movement, and movement reinforces frequency. By the end of today, walking like you're wealthy will start to feel normal. And when it feels normal, it becomes your frequency. Day 35, Week 5 Review. Look back at your embodiment practices. Which one shifted something for you? Which one felt hardest? Why? What did your body teach you this week about abundance? Write it down. Your body is a wisdom source. It knows things your mind doesn't. And this week you gave it permission to lead. That's powerful. Honor what it showed you. Week 6 is about amplification and intensity. You've built the foundation. Now you're turning up the volume. Day 36, you do a gratitude storm. Set a timer for 15 minutes. Write down everything you're grateful for as fast as you can. Don't think, just write. Your pen doesn't stop moving for 15 minutes. You'll start with obvious things. Then you'll hit a wall. Then you'll break through and find deeper things. By the end, you'll have pages of gratitude. And your frequency will be so high you'll feel it in your chest. This is high-voltage gratitude. This is what magnetizes abundance instantly. Day 37, you do a money memory recollection. You're going to write down every time in your life that money showed up unexpectedly. Every gift, every bonus, every refund, every time someone paid for something, every found money, every windfall. Go back as far as you can remember. Childhood, teenage years, young adult, all of it. You're building a catalog of evidence that you've always been taken care of. That money has always found you, and that pattern is still active. This catalog becomes your proof, and proof destroys doubt. Day 38, you create a vision book, not a vision board. You're going to take a notebook, and on each page, you write one specific abundant scenario in present tense, first person, vivid detail. I'm standing in my kitchen in my paid-off house, drinking coffee, looking out at the ocean, feeling peaceful and free. I'm opening my bank account and seeing $300,000, and my breath catches because I can't believe this is real. I'm signing the contract for my dream project, and the payment is more than I've ever received for anything. And I'm crying happy tears. You write 20 scenarios, one per page. This is high-resolution visualization in written form, and you read one every morning for the next 20 days. Day 39, you do a future self meditation. You're going to close your eyes and meet the version of you who's living in full abundance. You see them. You notice how they hold themselves, how they speak, how they move, what they're wearing, what they're doing. And then you ask them, how did you get here? What did I need to do to become you? And you listen. Your future self will answer. Maybe not in words, maybe in feelings or images, but they'll show you the path. And you write down what you receive. This is intuition activation, and intuition knows the way. Day 40, you do a fear flush. You write down every fear you have about money, every worst-case scenario, every terrifying what-if. You don't hold back. You let it all out. Then you read the list out loud. And after each fear, you say, and even if this happened, I would survive. I would find a way. I would be okay. You're not denying the fears. You're defanging them. You're proving to yourself that even the worst case isn't the end. And that recognition takes away fear's power. Fear loses when you face it directly. Day 41, you create your abundance altar. Find a space in your home, even just a corner of a shelf. Put objects there that represent abundance to you. Maybe a plant because it grows. Maybe a photo of someone you admire. Maybe a coin or a bill. Maybe something beautiful. This is your physical frequency anchor. Every time you walk past it, you touch it and run your wealth song. You're creating a tangible reminder in your environment. And environments shape frequency. So you're designing your space to support your shift. Day 42, Week 6 Review. This was an intense week. You amplified. You went deeper. You got louder with your frequency. How do you feel? Energized or exhausted? Hopeful or overwhelmed? Both are okay. Big shifts require big energy, and integration requires rest. So if you're tired, rest. If you're energized, channel it. Either way, acknowledge that you just did advanced work. You expanded your capacity, and expansion always feels uncomfortable before it feels good. Week 7 is about social frequency and boundaries. You're going to learn to protect your signal in the wild. Day 43, you do a relationship audit. Make 3 columns. Column 1 is frequency lifters, people who elevate you. Column 2 is frequency neutral, people who don't affect you much either way. Column 3 is frequency drainers, people who deplete you. Be honest. Put everyone you interact with regularly into one of these columns. This is not judgment. This is data. You need to know who affects your field and how. Day 44, you create a frequency protection ritual for drainers. You can't always avoid them. Sometimes they're family, coworkers, or necessary people in your life. So you need a ritual. Before you interact with a drainer, you do this. 3 deep breaths. Place your hand on your heart. Say silently, I'm protecting my frequency. Their energy is not my energy. I can be present without absorbing. Then, after the interaction, you do a clearing. Shake your body for 30 seconds. Literally, shake like a dog shaking off water. This releases absorbed energy. Then run your wealth song 5 times. You're resetting. This ritual becomes automatic over time. Day 45, you practice setting a frequency boundary. Today, if someone starts complaining about money or life, you're going to gently redirect. You might say, I hear you're struggling. I'm sorry. I'm actually working on shifting my relationship with these topics, so I'm trying not to engage in venting right now. Can we talk about something else? This will feel uncomfortable. Do it anyway. You're teaching people how to interact with you, and you're protecting your field. Some people will respect it. Some won't. The ones who don't are showing you they're not frequency matches right now. Day 46, you seek out high-frequency environments. Today, go somewhere that feels abundant. A beautiful park, a nice hotel lobby, an art gallery, a botanical garden, somewhere that elevates your system. Spend at least 30 minutes there. Notice how your body feels. Notice your thoughts. Notice your breathing. High-frequency environments raise your baseline without effort, and when your baseline is raised, maintaining it becomes easier. So you strategically place yourself in these environments regularly. Day 47, you have a frequency conversation. Choose one person you trust. Tell them about the work you're doing. Explain the concept of prosperity frequency. Share what's been shifting for you. Be vulnerable about the challenges. This serves two purposes. 1. Speaking it out loud reinforces your commitment. 2. You might inspire them to do this work too. And if they do, you'll have a frequency partner. And partners amplify each other. This is how movements start. One vulnerable conversation at a time. Day 48, you practice holding your frequency in a challenge situation. Identify a situation coming up this week that usually triggers you. A family dinner, a work meeting, a conversation with your partner about money. Decide in advance that you're going to hold your abundance frequency through it no matter what. You prepare. You do extra practice beforehand. You set your intention. You protect your field. And then you go in and you observe yourself. Can you stay centered? Can you avoid getting pulled into scarcity? Afterward, you review. What worked? What didn't? What do you need to strengthen? This is applied practice. This is the real work. Day 49, Week 7 review. Look at your relationship audit. Look at your frequency boundaries. Look at your challenge situation outcome. You're learning that you can be in the world without being of the world. You can interact with people in scarcity without matching their frequency. This is mastery. This is how you maintain your shift long term. Write down one insight from this week about social frequency. This is your wisdom. Honor it. Week 8 is about integrating rhythm and flow. You're going to learn to move with life instead of against it. Day 50, you track your energy for the entire day. Every hour, rate your energy 1 to 10. Notice patterns. When are you highest? When are you lowest? When do you feel creative? When do you feel drained? You did this before, but now you're going deeper. You're looking for subtle patterns. Maybe you notice you feel abundant in the morning, but scarcity creeps in at night. Maybe weekends are easier than weekdays. This data will inform your practice schedule. Day 51, you align your practice with your energy map. Based on yesterday's tracking, you adjust when you do your frequency work. If you're highest energy in the morning, that's when you do your deep practices. If you crash in the afternoon, that's when you need a midday reset, not a new practice. You're customizing for your actual rhythms, not fighting them. This makes everything more sustainable. And sustainable is how shifts become permanent. Day 52, you identify your personal season. Are you in planting, growth, harvest, or rest? Be brutally honest. Not where you wish you were, where you actually are. If you're in planting, stop expecting harvest. If you're in rest, stop feeling guilty. If you're in harvest, celebrate and receive. If you're in growth, trust the process. Once you identify your season, write down 3 actions that align with it. If planting, maybe you're building skills or making connections. If harvest, maybe you're receiving payments and celebrating wins. Align your actions with your season and watch resistance dissolve. Day 53, you practice sacred rest. Today, you're going to do absolutely nothing productive for 1 hour. No phone, no TV, no work, just rest. Lie down, sit outside, stare at the sky. Let your nervous system completely release. Rest is not laziness. Rest is where integration happens. Rest is where your system processes everything you've been installing. And most people never rest. They go, and wonder why nothing sticks. So today, you rest, and you notice how your body responds. Does it resist? Does it relax? Does it panic? Just notice. Day 54, you align a financial action with a natural rhythm. Maybe you decide to launch something on a new moon. Maybe you decide to release a service that's not working on a full moon. Maybe you decide to make a big ask on a day when your energy is peaking. You're experimenting with timing. And timing affects outcome. Something done at the right time flows. Something done at the wrong time struggles. So you play with this. You notice. You adjust. You learn your personal rhythm with money. Day 55, you practice non-attachment to outcomes. Today, you're going to take one action toward a financial goal, but you're going to release all attachment to how it turns out. You do the action from alignment, not desperation. Then you let it go. You trust the timing. You trust the process. You trust that if it's meant to happen, it will. And if it's not, something better is coming. This is advanced frequency work. This is the difference between forcing and allowing. And allowing is where miracles live. Day 56, Week 8 Review. You've been learning to flow, to trust, to align with rhythms bigger than your urgency. How does it feel? Scary? Freeing? Both? Write about what you're learning about control. Because most people think success requires control, but prosperity requires trust, and trust requires letting go. So what are you ready to let go of? What are you ready to trust? Answer honestly. This is your edge. This is where your next breakthrough lives. Week 9 is about maintenance systems and relapse prevention deepening. Day 57, you create your drift detection checklist. Write down 10 signs that you're drifting back to old frequency. Then put this checklist somewhere you'll see it daily. Once a week, go through it. Check off which signs are present. If 3 or more are checked, you're in drift. Activate your reset protocol immediately. This checklist is your early warning system. It catches drift before it becomes full relapse. And catching it early means less recovery time. Day 58, you build your frequency toolkit. Create a list of practices that reset you when you're drifting. Maybe it's a specific song. Maybe it's a walk. Maybe it's calling a friend. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's the humming practice. You need at least 5 tools. Write them down. Put them in your phone. When you're in drift, you can't think clearly, so you need the list ready. You look at it. You pick one. You do it. Simple, effective, sustainable. Day 59, you practice a mini relapse. Sounds weird, right? But here's the thing. You need to know you can recover before a real crisis hits. So today, you're going to deliberately think worst-case scenarios for 10 minutes. Really let yourself feel the fear, feel the scarcity, feel the panic. Then you're going to activate your emergency protocol. Stop, breathe, name it, reach out or self-soothe. Reset and notice how fast you can come back. This is exposure therapy. You're proving to yourself that even if you fall, you know how to get up. And that proof removes the fear of falling. Day 60, you write your relapse letter. This is a letter from present you to future you, when future you is in crisis. You write, "Dear future me, I know you're struggling right now. I know you're scared. I know the old patterns are back and you think you failed. But you haven't. You're in relapse, and that's normal. Here's what you need to do." And then you outline your exact protocol. You remind yourself of your tools. You remind yourself of your progress. You remind yourself that this is temporary. You sign it. You date it. And you save it somewhere you can find it when you need it. This letter will save you one day. Day 61. you identify your relapse triggers in advance. What situations are most likely to pull you back? Job loss, breakup, death, health crisis, financial emergency. Write them down. Then, for each one, write a contingency plan. If job loss happens, here's what I'll do first. If health crisis happens, here's who I'll call. You're not manifesting these things by thinking about them. You're preparing, and preparation reduces panic. Panic is what causes relapse. Preparation prevents it. Day 62, you practice self-compassion. Today, every time you notice a scarcity thought or an old pattern, instead of judging yourself, you say, "Of course this is coming up. I've been programmed this way for decades. It makes sense, and I'm choosing differently now." You're speaking to yourself the way you'd speak to a scared child, gently, kindly, with patience. Self-judgment keeps you stuck. Self-compassion creates space for growth. So today you practice being on your own side, and you notice how it feels. Probably unfamiliar. That's okay. Unfamiliar becomes familiar with practice. Day 63, Week 9 Review. You've built comprehensive relapse prevention systems. You have early detection. You have tools. You have protocols. You have contingency plans. You have self-compassion. You're not hoping you don't relapse. You're prepared if you do. And that preparation is what makes relapse rare and recovery fast. Write down how it feels to know you're this prepared. Does it feel secure? Empowering? That feeling is abundance frequency. You're trusting yourself. And self-trust is the foundation of everything. Week 10 is about amplification and expansion. You're going to practice big frequency. Day 64, you do a money manifestation visualization. Get comfortable. Close your eyes. Imagine your ideal financial reality in extreme detail, not vague abundance, specific numbers, specific experiences, specific feelings. Spend 20 minutes in this visualization. See it, feel it, live it. Then open your eyes and write down what you saw. This recorded vision becomes your North Star. You read it every morning. You let it guide your frequency. You let it pull you forward. Day 65, you speak your abundance out loud to someone. Choose a safe person and tell them a specific financial goal that scares you to say out loud. I want to make $500,000 this year. I want to buy a house with cash. I want to retire in 5 years. Whatever it is, say it out loud to another human. This is vulnerability. This is courage. This is claiming your desire publicly. And public claiming activates different frequency levels than private wishing. Your nervous system takes it more seriously when someone else hears it. Day 66, you take one financially courageous action, something that scares you but aligns with your abundant future self. Maybe you raise your prices. Maybe you apply for the bigger opportunity. Maybe you invest in yourself in a way that feels risky. You do it afraid. You do it before you feel ready. You do it because your future self would. And you notice what happens in your body. The fear, the exhilaration, the aliveness. That's you expanding. That's frequency amplification in real time. Day 67, you practice certainty. Today, every time doubt comes up about your financial future, you interrupt it with this phrase. I am certain that abundance is my natural state. I am certain that money flows to me. I am certain that I'm taken care of. You say it with conviction even if you don't feel it yet. Certainty is a practice. It's a choice. And the more you practice it, the more real it becomes. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference between fake it till you make it certainty and organic certainty. It just responds to the frequency. So you practice, and practice becomes reality. Day 68, you celebrate everything. Today, every tiny win gets acknowledged. You find $1 on the street. That's abundance. Someone buys you coffee. That's abundance. You get a compliment? That's abundance. You're training your brain to see evidence everywhere, because evidence builds belief. Belief strengthens frequency, and strong frequency creates consistent results. So celebrate loudly, dance, say yes out loud, text your frequency friend. Make abundance undeniable. Day 69. You teach someone what you've learned. Find someone curious and share the concept of prosperity frequency. You don't preach, you just share your experience. What you've learned, what's shifted, what's been hard. Teaching crystallizes learning, and when you teach, you embody. You can't teach something without living it. So teaching forces you to integrate at a deeper level. And bonus, you might change someone's life. That's legacy starting now. Day 70, Week 10 Review. You've been expanding, getting bigger, taking up more space, claiming more. How does it feel? Uncomfortable, exciting, terrifying. All of that is normal. Big frequency requires big capacity, and you're building that capacity with every bold choice. Write down the bravest thing you did this week, then thank yourself for doing it. You're becoming someone new. Honor that. Week 11 is about refinement and fine-tuning. Day 71, you audit your morning practice. Is it still serving you or has it become rote? If it feels mechanical, change something. Add music. Do it outside. Add movement. Change the phrase. Keep it alive. Keep it potent. Dead rituals don't shift frequency. Living rituals do. So breathe new life into your practice. Day 72, you audit your wealth songs. Which ones are automatic now? Which ones still feel forced? The forced ones need more attention. Spend this week deepening the one that's weakest. Say it more often. Embody it more fully. Make it real. By the end of this week, all 9 songs should feel natural, like thoughts you actually have, not affirmations you're forcing. Day 73, you audit your social field. Have your frequency friends stayed strong, or have you drifted back to old relationships? Have your boundaries held, or have you let them slip? Be honest, then adjust. Maybe you need to reach out to frequency friends more. Maybe you need to reinforce a boundary with a drainer. Your social field affects your frequency more than almost anything, so tend it like a garden. Weed what doesn't serve. Water what does. Day 74, you audit your environment. Walk through your home and office. What objects, images, and reminders support your abundance frequency? What reinforces scarcity? Remove or cover anything that triggers scarcity. Add more abundance anchors. Your environment should be broadcasting prosperity, even when you're not consciously thinking about it. Environments are silent frequency generators. So design yours intentionally. Day 75, you audit your language. Record yourself talking for 10 minutes about your life. Then listen back. What frequency is present in your words? Are you speaking abundance or scarcity? Are you claiming or complaining? Are you empowered or victimized? Your language reveals your true frequency more accurately than anything else. So listen. Then consciously upgrade any scarcity language patterns you catch. Day 76, you audit your spending and receiving. Look at your bank account. How did you spend this week? Was it aligned with abundance or scarcity? Did you hoard or flow? Did you give joyfully or resentfully? Did you receive cleanly or with guilt? Your financial behavior shows your true frequency, so look at the data. Then decide what needs to shift. Maybe you need to give more. Maybe you need to receive more. Maybe you need to spend more joyfully. Whatever it is, commit to the shift. Day 77, Week 11, Review. You've refined everything. Your practice, your songs, your field, your environment, your language, your behavior. You're not starting from scratch anymore. You're optimizing. That's advanced work. That means you've built something real, something sustainable. Write down what feels most aligned now. What practices feel non-negotiable? Those are your core. Protect them. Everything else can flex, but the core stays. Week 12 is about testing and expansion. Day 78, you deliberately put yourself in a high-pressure situation, something that would have triggered massive scarcity 3 months ago. Maybe you look at expensive real estate. Maybe you sit in a luxury car dealership. Maybe you browse first-class flights. You do it to test your frequency. Can you be around wealth without feeling less than? Can you enjoy luxury without guilt? If yes, you've shifted. If no, you know what to work on. Either way, you learn. Day 79, you have a vulnerable money conversation with someone you've avoided talking to. Maybe it's your partner. Maybe it's your parents. Maybe it's a friend who lent you money. Whatever conversation you've been avoiding, have it, but have it from your new frequency. Calm, grounded, honest, empowered. Notice how your new frequency changes the dynamic. Notice how people respond differently when you're not in scarcity mode. This is real-world application. This is proof your work is working. Day 80, you make a financial decision from your future self, not your current self. Maybe it's investing in something. Maybe it's letting go of something. Maybe it's asking for something. Whatever it is, you decide from abundance, not fear. Then you execute, and you sit with whatever feelings come up. Doubt, fear, excitement. You let them all be there without letting them derail you. This is embodied courage. This is choosing your frequency under pressure. And every time you do this, the muscle gets stronger. Day 81, you do a full-day frequency immersion. From the moment you wake up until you go to bed, you stay consciously on abundance frequency. Every thought, every word, every action. You're not perfect, but you're aware. When you drift, you catch it and reset immediately. This is intensive training. This is what mastery requires. And by the end of the day, you'll be exhausted, but you'll also know something new about your capacity. You'll know you can hold frequency for an entire day. And if you can do it for one day, you can do it for every day. Day 82, you write your abundance story, not the story of your past, the story of your future. You write it as if it already happened. I was struggling with money for years. I felt stuck, scared, and hopeless. Then I found the prosperity frequency work. I committed to 90 days. It was hard at first, but I kept going. And by day 90, everything had shifted. Money started flowing. Opportunities appeared. I felt different. I was different. And now, looking back, I can't believe I ever lived in scarcity. Write this story. Make it vivid. Make it emotional. Then read it out loud. This story is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're programming your subconscious with the end result, and your subconscious will move mountains to make the story true. Day 83, you celebrate your transformation. You've done 83 days of consistent frequency work. Most people quit after a week. You kept going. That deserves celebration. Do something that honors your commitment. Buy yourself something meaningful. Take yourself to dinner. Write yourself a letter of acknowledgement. Call your frequency friend and tell them how far you've come. Celebration reinforces progress. It tells your nervous system we're succeeding. Keep doing this, so celebrate loudly. Day 84, Week 12, Review. You're in the final stretch. You've tested yourself. You've expanded. You've written your future. You've celebrated your progress. How do you feel compared to day 1? What's different? What's the same? Write it down. This is your before and after. This is your proof. And when doubt comes in the future, you'll read this and remember, you did it once. You can do it again. Week 13 is about completion and commitment beyond 90 days. Day 85, you reflect on your entire journey. Read through all your journal entries from day 1 until now. Notice the evolution. Notice what you were worried about that doesn't even matter anymore. Notice the patterns that have dissolved. Notice the new frequency that's emerged. This reflection is integration. It's making the implicit explicit, and explicit awareness makes transformation permanent. Day 86, you identify your biggest breakthrough. What moment in these 90 days changed everything? What insight? What practice? What experience? Write about it in detail. This is your anchor. When you feel yourself drifting in the future, you return to this breakthrough. You remember what's possible. You remember who you've become. Day 87. You identify your biggest challenge. What almost made you quit? What pattern kept coming back? What situation tested you most? Write about it honestly. Then write about how you moved through it. Because you did. You're here. That means you overcame it. And if you overcame it once, you can overcome it again. This is building evidence of your resilience, and resilience is what sustains long-term shifts. Day 88. You commit to the next 90 days. The work doesn't end at day 90. It evolves. So you decide right now what your practice will look like for the next 90 days. Maybe it's simpler. Maybe it's deeper. Maybe it's different. But it's something. Because maintenance is non-negotiable. Write your commitment. Date it. Sign it. This is your contract with your future abundant self. Day 89. You create your abundance legacy plan. How will you pass this frequency to others? To your kids, your partner, your community? Write it down. Make it specific. You're not just transforming yourself. You're becoming a frequency holder for everyone you love. That's sacred work. That's generational change. Honor it. Day 90, you arrive. You made it. 90 days of committed frequency work. You're not the same person who started this journey. Your nervous system has been rewired. Your default frequency has shifted. Your relationship with money has transformed. And your bank account, if you've been tracking, probably reflects some level of change. But here's the most important thing. The change isn't about the money. The money is just evidence. The real change is you. You trust yourself now. You trust the process. You trust that abundance is available, and that trust is unshakable. That trust is your new foundation. And from that foundation, everything else builds. Welcome to your new frequency. Welcome to your prosperity playlist. Welcome home. The Huatulco frequency is yours now. You don't have to travel there. You don't have to live there. You just have to practice there. Practice the trust. Practice the ease. Practice the openness. And watch your life transform. Your bank account is no longer listening to the wrong frequency. You've changed the channel. You've tuned into prosperity. And from this moment forward, everything shifts. Welcome to abundance. Welcome to flow. Welcome to the frequency you were always meant to live from. This is your prosperity playlist, and it's just beginning to play.